Welcome, grade 7s. This is lesson 11.4. Why did the government's immigration policy succeed? We're going to take a look at what that policy was, some of the things that they did, and a couple of more things. So stick around and let's learn something. That's right, it is lesson 11.4. Why did the government's immigration policy actually succeed? Because it did. We're going to talk today about push and pull factors. A couple of things that we need to know before we actually get into this lesson is that prior to this lesson in Canada's history, there was a vigorous campaign to attract immigrants from around the world. And that campaign, though, it was very specific in who they wanted, as we learned in previous lessons. We also know that Canada needed more and more immigrants. The amount of immigrants that were coming in were not enough, and the current population of Canada was not enough to sustain its economy and to push it on the world stage. And we also know that many immigrants came to Canada for all kinds of different reasons. And that's exactly what we're going to be taking a look at today. So what were some of the reasons for people wanting to leave their homelands? Well, the homeland conditions cause a lot of people to leave. And these are known as push factors. So what were some of the things that were pushing people outside of their home countries, be it in the United States or in Europe? What was pushing these people out? Well, 5 things were really pushing people out. The first one was population growth. European population at this time in history was booming. You have a booming population, you need some sort of jobs or at least farmland to sustain that. Unfortunately, there weren't enough jobs or farmland in Europe. The second push factor was religious persecution. A lot of Europeans, especially Eastern Europeans, were treated poorly because of their religious beliefs. So this was pushing them out of their homelands. Third, we have political persecution. So along with religious persecution, we now have people being persecuted because of their political beliefs. Natural disasters makes up the fourth push factor, the fourth reason people were leaving their homeland. So the Irish, for example, the Irish potato crop failed, so famines were pushing people out of their homelands as well. And the fourth push factor was, well, why not? Travel is affordable, so we can easily afford to get our tickets and we can leave our home country. Steamship travel was shorter and it was cheaper. In the image that we have here, this is the immigration into Canada from 1901 to 1911. And you can see where most of the immigrants are coming from. So a large number of them are coming from the British Empire, so mainly the United Kingdom. But we also have represented here, we have Russia, we have Asia, there is Northern Europe, the rest of Europe, and the United States. Now, these were reasons why people were leaving their countries. But why were they coming to Canada? So what were some of the reasons for immigrating to Canada? Well, by the 1900s, millions of people worldwide were on the move. So Europeans, not only were they coming to Canada, but they were also coming to the United States, Australia, New Zealand, South America. Lots of Europeans went to Argentina, for example. Canada itself had many opportunities, and these are pull factors that were pulling people in. One was cheap and plentiful land in Western Canada. If you're from Europe and the land is scarce, the good farmland is all gone, and you hear that there's free land to be had in Canada, this is something that is going to pull you into that country. Not only was there a lot of cheap, plentiful land, but that means there's also going to be a lot of jobs. The West, in the western part of Canada especially, needed shopkeepers, coal miners, teachers, doctors, you name it, there was a job. So the idea of having a job, leaving your country and going to a place where there's jobs is definitely going to be a pull factor in Canada's favor. There was a completed railway, so staying with the jobs, if you are a farmer, for example, you can use that completed railway, that newly completed railway, and now you can sell your produce, your products to the eastern markets of Canada. Then we've got better machinery. Most of our immigrants during this time period in Canada's history were farmers. And that machinery, that better machinery, meant that they could produce more crops. There was improved farming techniques. So they figured out how to better grow wheat here in the prairie climate. Speaking of wheat, there was a growing demand for wheat. So the price of wheat increased, which meant farmers were making a profit, which is going to be beneficial to them. Canada had religious and political freedoms. So people in Canada, they could hold whatever beliefs they wanted and they didn't have to worry about being persecuted. And the last pull factor that was working in Canada's favor is that many immigrants already had friends and family here in Canada, so they get to be reunited with them here in especially Western Canada. All right, I want you to head over to your notebook and complete the questions for this part of the chapter.